Yo, what's up, guys? It's Dom, and you're tuning in to Talks for Dom, where we touch on a series of topics that dives into the creator within. Over time, the goal is to help each and every one of you partaking in this transformation to better understand who and where you are on your journey. So let's chop it up. All right, guys. So before I start, right, this maybe just me, right, but let me know if you guys kind of like more, you kind of standing up and everything, being able to move around a little bit, or if you guys care if I'm sitting down and everything, chill vibe. Just let me know and everything. Maybe it's just me. It's just something to put in there. But let's move on, right? So, we're still on the topic of purpose, right? So we're moving to point 9, the grief of outgrowing yourself. I would consider this a side note from the last point that we just did. And it's basically kind of just going down its own lane of really understanding, um, really outgrowing like certain things that's in your life, right? And being able to notice those things, being able to be aware, being able to come into full acceptance of you outgrowing those things, right? What if becoming isn't just gaining something? What if it's losing something too, right? When you're, let's just say this, right? Let's talk about lifting weights or something like that. Let's point it towards that. Before you get good at being able to lift a certain weight, right? You truly have to get reps on it, right? You should have to get reps on it, stuff, and be able to understand how to manage this and how to do the reps correctly before you can do it the way you want to do it, right? So before that, it's an uncomfortable feeling, right? Before that, you're one person, right? But as you're getting your reps in and you're getting better and you're getting better and stuff, you're lifting that same weight. Over time, that weight is going to become manageable, right? And it's going to be okay for a certain amount of time as you're lifting that weight. But then it's going to become a time where that weight isn't really giving you any resistance anymore. Like you're able to manage it well. You're able to do your thing with it, however you want to do it. You know what I mean? But you're able to manage it in a different way to where you understand that continuously uh, lifting the same weight is not truly helping you, right? So now it's time to move on to that next thing, right? You're outgrowing that weight. Now it's time to move up. It's time to move up so that you can understand that one, be able to manage that next weight. It's levels to it, right? So look at life and understanding purpose in your life as basically the same thing, right? And that's how we're looking at it, and that can be the same thing of how I was touching on points in point 8 of like, you know what I mean? Like you reach certain relationships, rather it's friends, rather it's intimate, like you know what I mean? Certain parts in these relationships where you start to understand like, wow, you're noticing yourself growing. You're noticing that you're actually moving towards where you're supposed to move towards, right? And let's just say that certain things within like the relationship, right, whether friends or intimate or however, you know that certain things aren't moving in the same direction or aren't moving at the same level, which that's not always a bad thing, but understanding when it's healthy, right, and versus when it's unhealthy, right? So um, being able to understand within yourself, like, dang, okay, maybe this should be the route, right? Maybe we should be doing this rather than doing this, right? Um, that could be the same thing of, let's just say, like habits in your life, right? Understanding a certain amount of times that you have in a day, right? Um, the way you eat, right? How much you exercise, right? How much time that you usually use for fun, how much time that you use for watching TV and just like entertainment stuff, just things that aren't pertaining to working in your purpose, right? understanding what things need to be cut down, what things need to be cut up, what needs to be changed, meaning like how the whole system needs to be structured, right? Certain things about this could seem, in a way, like wow, it seems like I'm changing in a way of kind of like not really understanding certain changes. But as time goes, you start to understand why those certain changes have to happen in your life, right? Like friendships, right? And certain people that you want to be in your life forever. Like, you know what I mean? Like you might have started off with certain people and then finally tapped into the person that you're actually supposed to be. And when you start to work on that and actually start to get better and you actually start to see yourself in it and growing in it, you start to see how certain people that aren't there just yet linger around. And it's just more of like, that's okay if they understand that they're lingering around, but it's not okay if they still don't understand that they're just lingering around. So now it's just more of like, okay, you understand what needs to happen. There's a talk that can be happen, or that's a talk. There's a talk that can happen, or there's just a part ways that has to happen, right? And within that, I feel like that's kind of like an emotional transition, right? Because you're just kind of like, dang, like we've been, you know what I mean? We've been together for the longest, or we've been, you know what I mean, through this and through that. Like, you feel me? Through the downs and the ups. And we come to this time to where we come to like a crossroad. And it's just more of like, sometimes that's not always the easiest. You know what I mean? But um, just because you're losing something doesn't always mean that it's a loss, meaning for your life, for where you're headed. Sometimes that's a it's a growing pain, right? So you know how people say like they go through growing pains, right? It's just certain things that need to be snipped off, certain things that um you shouldn't actually be doing anymore. Let's just say like a person that likes to um like if you were a drinker or something like that or whatever, right? Um love to take a drink every now and then, but understand that over time that when you drink one day, then the next day you find yourself kind of having like that lingering effect. Then it's just more kind of like, okay, I noticed that this is a pattern for myself. So if I know that I'm trying to get certain things done, then maybe it's time to let that go. Maybe it's time to kind of cut that out of my life so that I can be able to have more time focused on what I'm really supposed to be doing and how it's supposed to go for me to be able to make it to this certain point, right? Um, it could be a certain position, maybe that maybe you're no longer able to see growth in yourself at a certain position, right? And now you're just like, okay, now it's time for me to go down a different lane, right? Like you built a lot of things at this one level, right? It's a lot of things that we can attach ourselves to, and when it's time to detach, sometimes it can almost be like pulling a tooth and everything, right? But it's the same thing of what I said. We're just going through growing pains. That's not always a sign to be like, maybe I'm not supposed to do that. Like maybe I'm not supposed to go over there. Maybe I'm not supposed to be going down this lane because it's causing me to have to go through this pain. But that's not always the truth. Sometimes you're supposed to go through that. Sometimes that's a challenge that we have to go through when trying to grow, right? So being able to understand when you're outgrowing where you once were or where you are, you're outgrowing yourself, right? And that's the best of the best. But that's a talk that people don't really talk about. Everybody loves to celebrate um, the growth, just period, rather than truly diving into what it really means to outgrow and to grow into the better, right? Um, you can be excited about your future, but still mourn who you've been, right? Because, okay, let's just say now you've gotten to that next thing. You've cut back on the thing that you needed to cut back on, and now in your mind though, right? Let's just say I don't know, like a friendship or something like that. I don't know why it kind of zip zip lines back to that, but you said like certain thing like, oh man, I'm about to call up, but then you kind of remember, you're like, ah, dang, like I really can't do that because now I know what that leads to. I know what that goes into. Or let's just say like for the weekends and stuff, like you used to partying, but now like you understand where you need to go. So it's just kind of like, really, I gotta find something else. Like I gotta find a new fun for myself. I gotta find a new thing to be able to do as an alternative that could still be keep me in the progressing stage for myself to continue to be better, right? And sometimes those things can be like a toss and turn for yourself, you know what I mean? But it comes back to the saying of what I said before. It was just growing pains, guys. Growing pains, right? So let's take it day by day, continue to pray, continue to stay positive within your mind. You know what I mean? And like I said, like I had suggested before, guys, if you need to take time to meditate, take time to be able to sit with yourself for a second. You know what I mean? To be able to recollect yourself and be able to accept these things as they're happening on the day to day and in real time. I know that sometimes it could be a challenge. It could be a big challenge, right? Especially if you're new to truly becoming who you are. That's just a part of why we're here, right? So yeah, I mean that's what that is and everything for point nine, the grief of outgrowing yourself, guys. Let's take time to really ponder on that. You know, that's another point right there. It's fire. You know, so let's keep going. Let's keep getting better. And let's continue to walk into that creator within, man, for sure. To the next one, though, guys.